Hey folks, Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Tuesday, April the 10th. Oh, been out on the water quite a bit this last week and weekend. Oh gosh, I guess I did, I don't know, 10, 11 trips last week, 12 trips, something like that. Got back out today. Post-frontal conditions, bluebird skies, yada, yada, yada. Still managed to catch a few. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 915.8 as of right now. Corps has slowed it down. They're just running 2 units right now. They say they're going to have it down to 915, I believe, by the 12th is what I saw online. So they are getting the lake back to normal. Beaver is still high. They're going to be draining beaver, so there will still be current running through the lake once they get it down to 915. And Bull Shoals is still high, but not that that affects us here on Table Rock, but they will be dropping Bull Shoals as well. As far as our water temperature is concerned, it's been kind of weird. It's down by the dam, you're looking at about 49-50, gets up to about 51. Here in Kimberling City today, I saw as warm as 53, but for the most part it was about 50-51. Up the James over the weekend, I did see 54, 55. Up the White, same sort of deal. If you get into some of that dirty water and you've got a little bit of sunshine, it'll be 54, 55. But really, it's cooled off. These cooler nights have knocked our temperature back down. So we are back down in the, I'm going to say, low to mid 50s on average. Not nearly what we want if we want these fish to move up and spawn. It seems like they move up, get a couple of warm days, these fish move shallow, start cruising the bank, start acting like they're going to spawn, and then we get another cold front comes through and we have a freeze warning for 2 or 3 nights in a row like we did the last couple of nights. So it has been knocking that temperature down, and I really think it's going to delay the spawn. I've had several people ask me where they are on the spawn. They are pre-spawn, way pre-spawn right now. Nothing's cruising the banks, nothing's up there shallow building nests. If it continues this way, looks like we're going to have a few warm days, and then it's going to get cold this weekend, then hopefully warm back up next week. Even at that rate, I do not think that they'll spawn probably until either the end of April, beginning of May. So they will probably be on beds in May, not in April like they traditionally are here on Table Rock. But if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, several good bites going on. I mean, we're still catching fish every trip. Seems like sunny days are a little bit better than cloudy days. Wind is definitely better than anything else right now. If you get a little bit of wind, it really helps the bite. But if you are coming down, you're going to fish lower in the lake, best bite I've got going down there right now is definitely on a swim bait. The Swing Impact Fat 2.8, 3.3 on a 1/4 ounce head, and basically an open hook, just like we'd throw a grub, and the grub's working as well. The XPS 4-inch single tail grub is working too. But both of those baits, depending on what the weather conditions are, most of the fish are either 6 to 12 feet deep. If you have a calm day, those fish will move out a little bit and they'll be 8 to 15 foot deep. But most of them are on gravel mixed with rock banks and points, primarily points with the amount of water they've been running. But if they are going to slow the current down, I think that will move those fish off of the points a little bit. But we're throwing it out. If we've got wind, I'm counting it down about a 5 or a 6 count and just reeling it back in slow and steady, getting bites that way. If you don't have wind, throw it out, let it sink to the bottom, and basically we're scrubbing it along the bottom, just bouncing it along the bottom. Most of your bites will come on the bottom when you've hit a rock and you come off of it, and then they'll hit it. But doing really well with both the Swing Impact Fat 2.8, 3.3 and the XPS 4-inch grub. Those are both working really good. Started catching a few fish on a Ned rig as well. Doing good with the jewel Ned head. Matching that up with half of a Bass Pro Sticko. Color really hasn't seemed to matter on the Sticko that much. Been throwing that Sooner Run a little bit and doing good with that. Been throwing just a straight green pumpkin and doing well with that too. So color doesn't seem to be that big of an issue. Same fish, same spots. It seems like when you got those fish relating to the bottom on those calm days, sometimes they'll hit that Ned rig a little bit better than they will the swim bait or the grub. So keep a Ned rig handy. Like most of them are 10 to 15 foot deep. Today, after this cold front, it seemed like they backed out all the way to 17 or 18 foot deep. So they are a little bit deeper. with water cooling off and when you don't have any wind. Still catching a few on a crankbait, wigglewort, curve 55, rock crawler, same sort of banks we always catch them on, those transition type banks where it's going from rock to gravel, and again, wind helps that, and it seems like those fish are biting much better on cloudy days than they are on sunny days. So if you're thinking about throwing a crankbait, make sure you got a little bit of cloud cover. That'll increase your bites quite a bit. A few on a stick bait as well. Seems like the McStick has been better, and the X-Wrap have been better. Both of those have been better than the Megabass Vision 110. Same sort of deal. Points, rock mixed with gravel are definitely best. Seems like those fish are suspended over about 10 or 12 foot of water. And again, wind helps that bite just like it does the others. Come up here to Kimberling City. Same bites are working up here. Caught several on a swim bait today. Swing Impact Fat 2.8 was the one we were throwing. Caught a few on the XPS Grub as well. The 4-inch Milky Salt and Pepper was our best color. Again, fishing that on a 1/4 ounce head, open hook. Today we did, like I said, had to go out a little bit deeper. It seemed like most of the fish were 12 to 18 foot deep versus that 8 to 10 where we have been catching them. I think the cold front and the lack of wind backed them off a little bit, but once we found them, they were there, and we caught several off of different points. Most of them hitting that thing right on the bottom, really just working it right along the bottom, ticking it off a rock. She'd bounce off of a rock and one would hammer it. When we did find a windy point with a little bit of wind on it, they would be up off of the bottom, but if you don't have any wind, make sure you're working it along the bottom. Did well with the Ned rig and the Bass Pro tender tube down here too, catching quite a few on the Jewel Net head with half of a sticko on it, or the Bass Pro tender tube, both in puke and green pumpkin. Again, these fish are relating to the bottom when you don't have wind and they're out a little bit deeper, so it did help to work that bait out a little bit deeper. I'd say the best bite was between 15 and 20 foot deep on that. Have been catching a few on a crankbait as well down here. Rock crawler, wigglewort, curve 55. Again, cloudy, windy days are better. We got a lot of wind coming in the next 3 days, so I imagine those fish will bite even without the cloud cover with that much wind. But definitely going to have a rock crawler or a wigglewort or a curve 55 tied on. Stick bait bites starting to wane down here. The water's got a little bit more color in the Kimberling City area. I think if you used a brighter stick bait, especially on a windy bank, you might pick up a few, but I really think you do better with a swim bait or do better with a crankbait right now. Really haven't been catching them on a spinnerbait. I think this colder water has backed them off. Toward the end of last week when we had some warmer water, we did catch some on the War Eagle spinnerbait, but really the last 3 or 4 days have not been getting the spinnerbait bite. I just think those fish have backed off too far to where you're not catching as many or getting as many bites on a spinnerbait as we did when the water was warm. Go up into the James. Crankbait bites very good up the James. Caught a lot of fish on a crankbait up the James this weekend. It was windy, it was cold, it was cloudy. They were eating a crankbait. Curve 55, wigglewort, rock crawler, all those were working anywhere from about 7 to about 10, 11 foot deep on those rocky transition banks and rocky transition points. A lot of fish coming on a crankbait right now. Caught a few on a swim bait up there as well. Swim bait bite wasn't quite as strong up there because the water's got a little bit more color in it, but we did catch a few on the Swing Impact Fat and on a XPS Grub up there. And then we caught a few on a jig up there as well. The Jewel Pro Spider jig with that dirtier water. Okeechobee Blue was working okay, but did better with a black and blue or with the Missouri Craw or with the Bass Whacker. Those colors that have a little bit of highlights in them that are chartreuse or orange or something like that seem to be a lot better. And those fish were holding tighter to the bottom. Seemed like when we lose the wind, we really got to start throwing a jig or a shaky head or something like that to pick up those fish. Most of them about 8 to 12 foot deep, and some as deep as 15. And again, most of the fish we've caught with all this current have been on those rock mixed with gravel, gravel mixed with rock points. Some of them are right on top of the point, some of them are off of one side or the other, but we have been catching them primarily on points. I think with them slowing the water down, you'll be able to catch them off of the points a little bit more as well. Go up into the white. Swim bait bite was really strong up the white. Swing Impact Fat, 2.8, 3.3. Sexy Shad Sight Fish, those were the two that were really the best colors. The 4-inch XPS Grub, again, on a 1/4 ounce head. And basically, if you've got wind, keep it up off the bottom. Give it about a 5 count, reel it in medium speed, you'll get bit. If you don't have wind, let it sink to the bottom and scrub the bottom with it, and just let it tick off of the rocks as you're bringing it in. The key to that is as it gets deeper, you need to allow it to fall down. If you pull off of a ledge, don't just start reeling right away. Let it fall down and get back on the bottom, because most of those fish are relating to the bottom. Did catch them on the jewel Ned head up there with half a sticko. Did catch them on a jewel squirrel head up there too, matching that up with a beaver or a speed craw. Caught them on a jewel pro spider jig too. Okeechobee blue and bass whacker were my two best colors up there. Most of those fish, when you don't have wind, they're going to be 8 to 12, 8 to 15 foot deep. They're probably a little bit deeper right now since we had this front pull through, but with the warmer weather we've got over the next 2 or 3 days, I really think those fish will move back up, and we'll probably see a spinnerbait bite really take off in the next 2 or 3 days. Hopefully this cold front doesn't shut them down again, but I definitely have a Warrior spinnerbait tied on if I was going up the White, looking for those transition areas and working that thing from the bank out to about 10 foot deep, just below the surface, because I really think on a windy, cloudy day, or even a windy, sunny day, we're going to get a lot more bites on a spinnerbait once this water warms up a little bit over the next 2 days. Friday is going to be gangbusters, because you've got 3 days of a warming trend, and you've got a front coming in that afternoon. Friday is going to be a really good day to fish, so if you guys can get off work and fish Friday, you'll probably catch some good ones on Friday, and probably a lot of fish as well. Guys, we are almost halfway through April, and it feels like the beginning of March because it's still cold. Don't get it, don't know why. Mother Nature's mad at us or something. Seems like we get 2 or 3 nice days, and then boom, we get another cold front come through. It's going to happen again this weekend. We're going to have tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday are going to be nice, a little windy, but they're going to be warm. Heck, they're saying it may be 82 degrees on Thursday, so it's going to actually be hot. Get those fish juiced up. They're going to move up and they're going to feed, but then we got a freeze warning for the weekend. Supposed chance of snow on Saturday again, so I don't get it. Not the weatherman, and don't understand it, but hopefully we'll get out of this pattern and get that jet stream moved over and get warmed up. But guys, we are catching fish even though we got these fronts coming in. Every trip we're catching several fish. We're having a good time. If you guys are coming down wanting to fish, it's a great time to come. The best time of the year to fish is May through June on Table Rock. Usually the end of April through the first couple of weeks of June are the best times to fish. You catch numbers, you catch size. If you like to catch smallmouth, now is the time to come, because the smallmouth are already on the bank. They backed off a little bit. We get a few days of warm weather and they're going to be right up on the bank, and we're going to be catching. That's when you start hearing of these 50, 60 fish days, is in May and first couple of weeks of June. But if you guys are coming down, thinking about hiring a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. You can either shoot me an email or book right there online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. But guys, thanks for watching the videos. Take a minute to subscribe if you haven't had a chance to. But thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.